Welcome to Soul Circuit. Today I'm going to talk about being adopted and what that means to me, what it meant for me, what it continues to mean for me as both a child that was adopted, but also a mom of a son that was adopted. So I'll start at the beginning. I was born in San Diego, California, and I was adopted into a family after being in a foster home for almost a year that already had 2 other children from different families. And then a 4th was added, my little brother. But I was moved from California, where I was adopted, across country to grow up outside Philadelphia. And I was given a beautiful life. I was given opportunities, education, a family structure, siblings, cousins, everything one could imagine. And at the age of 10, I discovered I was adopted. Back then, we didn't talk about being adopted. It wasn't something that was discussed openly. And when I went through the adoption process with our son, the social worker helped us really embrace the fact that being adopted is a way of creating beautiful families, of loving souls coming together that want to experience a life together. Part of your extended life journey. And we'll talk more about soul contracts and soul family in other episodes. But for today, we'll focus on being adopted. And when I discovered at age 10, just by random chance in a file drawer in my daddy's office, I felt special. I felt chosen. And I didn't really know what that meant. My other siblings didn't really talk about it. Some were more embarrassed by it or wanted it to be a secret, continue to be a secret. I was proud of it. I talked about it. I told my friends at school, I remember. And yeah, some taunting may have followed, but for the most part, I didn't hide the fact that I was adopted. There were others that maybe felt I was different. And maybe at times that belief got reinforced in different experiences I had. And yet I did feel a close connection with my daddy, especially, and my little brother, that we knew we belonged together. And as I've been on this journey of soul discovery, soul expression, soul understanding, I now can appreciate that my soul family includes certain individuals and may not include others, and that's okay. That's okay. Everyone in my world is for my benefit. The great times and maybe the not so great times, they're all for my benefit, for my own soul to evolve and experience this incredible life that I get to have here on earth. Because in this human body, my soul gets to feel, it gets to experience deep emotion, both love and grief, sadness and joy. Without it, I'm simply a light being, a soul which is a light being expressed in this physical body that doesn't get to feel the depth of human emotion. And that's why incarnating and being on this adventure of a lifetime is so precious. So let's get back to being adopted. As I continued on my evolutionary path of moving into adulthood, getting married, going through the process of wanting to create a family. We discovered that wasn't going to happen very easily. So my husband at the time and I pursued the path of IVF, different ZIFT procedures, IVF procedures. It was a grueling path for my little female body. And after multiple rounds and lots of money invested and a lot of difficulty on the physical side, it was determined it wasn't going to work. There were 2 embryos that I successfully was able to create to get implanted in IVF, and they didn't survive. There was no explanation, no understanding why not. I have to say, I did feel like a failure as a woman, that I wasn't able to carry a child. And yet it opened up the path for adoption. And it unbelievably changed my life and my son's dad's life in everything we've been able to create with him. So we were fortunate to adopt him as an infant, as a newborn. We got to meet his birth mother, his birth father. For 18 years, I wrote a letter and included pictures about his journey and gave it to the agency on my son's birthday every May. And I would share how he was thriving, how he was stepping into his essence, his life, his incredible talent as a human being here. And how fortunate we were that we get to be called his parents. And I would always close it by thanking the birth mother once again for giving us this incredible gift. That son now is 25 as of this recording date. And he is a corpsman in the Navy. He stepped into his incredible, beautiful life of a wise soul, wise beyond his years, sharing in his gifts, his love, his time. And there's so much more for him to discover. And there's been incredible stories of his experience of being adopted that I'll share in future episodes as well. And I've had my chance in I think forgiving maybe the beliefs that I've held on to for a long time, that I wasn't wanted, that I wasn't lovable, that I was given away, that I was discarded. And that would pop up every now and then, and I would get myself into relationships that would reinforce those beliefs. And I would get into situations where I would feel unlovable and discarded again and again. And I would do things like maybe drink a lot to numb those feelings of not being enough. So over my many years, I've had, situations that, I wish maybe I could have done differently, like we all probably have. And that's okay. Each of them were for my benefit, for my expansion, for my true understanding of experiential learning that I have here of unconditional love versus conditional love. And the beliefs that I got to be good enough to be loved. That's conditional love. And I chased that for many, many years. And my son has taught me unconditional love. He's had me experience unconditional love. Just being in his presence, you feel unconditional love. And so I know that's my soul path. I know that's my journey here, is to continue to evolve and experience the various aspects of being chosen, of sharing this incredible life that has been shared with me, this incredible love that I'm made of, that I've experienced in many different ways over the course of my life so far. And I know there's much more ahead. And so when I reflect on being given away through the process of adoption, I want to reframe that and maybe look at it as maybe I was being sent ahead, that I jumped ahead into an expression, an experience, an environment that moved me even faster along my soul's journey than would have been had I stayed in the biological family I was a part of. Who knows? I'm gonna go with that for now. Thank you for joining me today on Soul Circuit. Stay plugged in.